What is up, guys? Finally getting to making some videos for the year. Had a really slow year so far up until this video. The first month of season for me was just I was trying new spots and really kind of expanding on areas that I'd seen a few deer, and it just wasn't going well. Up until this hunt that you're about to see, I hadn't seen a mature buck. Seen a few small ones and a few does, but even just the deer numbers in general were pretty bad up until this point. But anyway, this hunt takes place on the 24th. The pre-rut's really kicking in. They're starting to get on their feet. They're starting to look for does, and it's just when the fun starts. So I'm gonna check you in right here to the beginning of that hunt. Good morning. I'm up here on one of my favorite spots. This is actually the spot that Steve killed his first deer at. It's a beautiful morning. Everything's perfect. The wind's good. As good as it can be. They can come from anywhere on this spot, but I would say it's my preferred wind, but got about 38,000 squirrels up here right now, so needless to say, I'm on my toes for sure, but nothing yet. It's early. I've been daylight for about 20 minutes. I think I'm gonna hit a little rattling sequence and see what happened. It's a little early, but it could start. They could start at any time. It could kick off any time. They seem to start a little early in this area. So once I make sure the coast is clear, I'm gonna hit a little sequence. Then I'll run the squirrels off for a little while. Oh my God. Did I kill him? I hit him high. Oh no. Hit him high. I shot him for 35. Don't think he was that far. Yeah, he probably was. Holy crap, that happened fast. Oh my God. I'm literally just sitting here, hating life. Haven't seen a deer all morning. And I look to my right, and that freaking buck is 40 yards coming closer. I mean, just as fast as I could grab my bow and turn the camera on, it happened. I hit him high, but I got a pass through. I'm gonna have to look at the shot, and hopefully I got the shot in frame. I think I did. I didn't zoom in on him at all, but God dang it, I hit him high. I watched him run for 100 yards, or as far as I can see, it's about 100 yards. He'd stop and briefly stop, and then he would take off again. I'm gonna have to look back at that shot, guys. Oh, crap. Only freaking deer I've seen all morning. I haven't seen a thing. It is 9. Oh, I'm shaking like crazy now. 9:30. Oh, crap. Alright. I'm gonna look back at the shot real quick. Okay, so I can't see anything on this little screen, but my line felt pretty good. I'm trying to play it back in my mind. Luckily I have light and knock. I've seen exactly where I hit. It's a pretty good line as far as left and right, but it's high. I mean, it was tight to the shoulder. So I don't know if I mean, he's dead. I'm fairly confident he's dead. But it's just a matter of getting blood. If we can get some blood, I think he's dead. Holy crap. I'm gonna climb down. Go see if I can find my arrow. My arrow passed through, so can't see it from here, but I should be able to find it. Man, I wish I'd held lower. I shot him for 35 and I just hit high. But that's about what he was. I think he was about 35. I can't get a good range on him. Making sure that wasn't a deer. Just had something coming up on here. It's right there. Yeah, I mean, he was 37, 36. I don't know why I hit high. But it did happen fast. I'm gonna go see if I can find my arrow. Hopefully I can give me an idea of what I'm dealing with. And then back out of here. At least for a couple hours. If the arrow looks great, then I'm still shaking like a leaf. If the arrow looks great, then probably come in here in a couple hours. But if it doesn't, or if I can't find it, it's gonna be a little while before I come in. I don't want to push him. I think, unless I went over everything, which I don't think I did. It wasn't that high. It was just higher than I wanted it to be. So I'm gonna go see what we got. Whew, gosh. Alright, so I needed to clarify a little bit on this shot. I thought I got a pass through, and I said it several times throughout the video. The reason I thought I got a pass through was when the arrow made contact with the deer, that the lighted knock shut off. So in my mind, that arrow went through the deer and I didn't see my lighted knock anymore. That was what happened in my mind. Turns out, and I'll explain later how we come to this conclusion when we get to that part of the video, but it turns out that when the arrow made contact with the deer, it shut the knock off or broke it. When we ended up finding my arrow later on, the knock was broke off. I'm sure it just shut it off on impact, and when he was running off, it was in him, and I didn't see that when I was watching him. So I'm thinking he probably broke it, hitting it on a tree or something on the way. So anyway, in my mind, I got a pass through. Okay, another thing, where the light is on the knock appears to be perfectly up and down with that crease in the shoulder where it's shut off at. Well, from my angle of the arrow, the actual impact is in the front upper part of the shoulder. I'm going to pull that up for you here on DeerCast just to show you. So let me get this lined up here. So my initial thought was here. That's where the lighted knock appears to disappear at. Okay, well, what it turns out, that after the arrow made contact with the deer, that's where the light was when it shut off. The contact was actually made in this area. Now, how did I get there? I rushed the shot. That's the only explanation. As soon as it hit shoulder area, I released it. That's the only thing I can think of. And if you have DeerCast, if you use this, then you kind of get to, they kind of explain the possible scenarios of a hit in this area. I mean, it's anywhere into here. I mean, not quite that high, but anywhere in here. Okay. Now, if you use this app and listen to the information, there's a major artery that goes through there, which I'll explain. I didn't hit that artery. Okay, there's no blood. We didn't find blood until probably 30-40 yards into the direction that I saw him go. So we kind of spread out a little bit looking for the first blood or the arrow. Found blood about 30-40 yards down the trail. If I hit that artery, there would be blood immediately. It would just be spurting everywhere. It's not a major, it's not the best blood. You're not going to get the best blood hitting that artery, but there is some blood. Obviously, it's an artery, major artery. So that would have been, at that point, probably that's second best case scenario. First best case is spine. Obviously didn't hit spine. So at this point, it's tough because alright, well, I cannot find my arrow. That sucks, because I think that would be a big factor in what goes on after this. I know it passed through, maybe it stayed in him on the backside, just hanging out the back for a second, just enough to fling it somewhere else, but I do not see it. I've walked a little circle here a couple different times and I do not see it. But we know it's here somewhere. I'm going to do one more circle. Then I'm going to back out of here. See if I can get some help on the way. And then talk to a few people. His reaction is kind of tough because he bolted out, but his tail was not tucked. His tail was up, and then when I watched him run off, he slowed down up there, and his tail is flickering. He just kind of hobbled off, like he was just half trotting. You know how deer do. So anyway, I don't see any blood, but like I said, I don't expect to. With a high hit, I don't expect to see much blood initially, and if it does start pumping blood, we'll have it for a little while, and we'll probably lose it, depending on how far he goes. But like I said, I'm going to talk to a few people, get some opinions, and get some help. He'd be worth it if we can get our hands on him. He's pretty nice, probably my biggest deer. So keep looking for this arrow for 5 more minutes, and then I'm gonna back on out of here. So wish me luck. I think I'm gonna need it. Just a little information here, but so when I was up in the tree, I actually noticed I had this scrape right at the base of my tree, which it has been extremely windy. So that for that to be that clean means it's been hit in the last 24 hours, or probably the last 12 hours. And then I just noticed coming back to my tree, this fresh rub here right by my tree. There's another big rub down there about 30 yards down the hill. And then on my way in this morning in the dark, I found a fresh rub all along my route I take in. So hopefully get 4 or 5 people out here. That'd be nice. I think that's what it's gonna take. So ease our way out of here. A little bitty rub right there. That is not normal for this spot. There's usually not much buck sign up here, but they do use it. Oh man, I hope we can find some blood. I'd like to find that arrow. One thing I didn't, in the heat of the moment, I never even mentioned, is I'd actually rattled about 15 minutes prior to him coming in. He didn't seem like he was searching that hard. He was looking, but I don't know if that rattled him in or not. But either way, I mean, he definitely heard it for him to come in 15 minutes after. So I don't know. I just hope we have a happy ending here, but it's gonna be tough. This is the tree I saw on the way in. It is just rubbed to death. It's rubbed all the way around. Pretty cool. Even after finding my arrow, I still think I got about 8 inches. I think I slipped over that first shoulder and got into the backside shoulder. But I've missed artery and missed spine. So it really doesn't matter how much penetration I get. I'm over the lungs. I believe I'm over the spine. I don't know if it could go under the spine without hitting lungs. There was no bubbles in any of the blood. So it's really, you kind of get where this is going. I was a lot more optimistic with my shot from the original shot. Later on, getting more info about the shot, being able to see it on a laptop in slow motion, and then talking to people later on, I mean, it became very obvious as what happened. Oh, well, you can see that. But there's some, I mean, there's white hairs on it. There's some white hairs. See those white hairs on it?
It's not gray, is it?
It could be. It's hard to tell right now, My knock broke.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we couldn't see.
That's why I was asking what color it is. That's what I seen.
We're going to keep taking up blood. Alright, so at this point, we are tracking the deer. We found blood. We found the arrow. Arrow looks pretty good. It's coated up for about half the arrow is coated, okay? But you can tell that that's just kind of where the blood was spurting. The blood is probably good for 8 to 10 inches. It appears to be. That's what the penetration was. And honestly, I don't know that it was that much. Because if you get a really good laptop, you can see on the camera or on the video, there's quite a bit of arrow sticking out when he turns to run away. It's. I wish I would have zoomed. I think was what it comes down to. If I zoom a little bit on that deer, we get a much better picture as to what happened. But I didn't have time. From the time I saw him to the shot was 32 seconds. Not a whole lot of time to get to worry about zooming on the camera. So we tracked this deer for I think it was about 400 yards. We found 5 beds in the last 100 yards. All the blood was dry. Every speck of blood was dry, even in the last bed. So I know we didn't bump him out of that bed. There was no fresh blood. In my opinion, he got up out of that bed and he was done bleeding. I think he'd finally clawed it up. We waited 6 hours from the shot. Okay, so what I did was I looked for my arrow, couldn't find it, backed out. Waited. Matt Snyder was, I believe he was there. Either way, he was there or on his way. Waited for him, and I also called my dad. Dad actually drove down, which is about an hour and a half after he got done doing the things he had to do. So it ended up being about 6 hours before we took up that track. So at 6 hours, if I got in the lungs, I believe he would have been dead in one of those beds, personally. A deer's not going to bed 5 times within 100 yards if he's not either just recovering, he's gathering himself, or he's dead. He's going to die there, or he's just gathering himself before he goes on his way. So after we searched several hours, we ended up grid searching the immediate area for probably another hour after we got done blood tracking. We ran out of blood, kind of trying to decide what to do. Turns out that was a poor decision on our part. I should not have grid searched, because we had 3 people grid searching, 3 pretty experienced hunters grid searching. We know where to look. We know, we went all in different directions. Nothing. So, but that was a poor decision, because I later got in contact with the tracker, and he was willing to come down and do the track, but he also advised me that he didn't want to phrase it this way, but he pretty much said we were wasting our time if we did track it. He was more than willing to do that, and I appreciate him doing, at least willing to do that for me. But I also know how busy them trackers are, and I didn't want to waste his time, so we ended up not doing the tracker. I sent him pictures of the arrow. I sent him the video, and he was 99% sure we would be tracking a live deer. He was he's a pretty experienced tracker, and he was fairly concerned that fairly certain that we would have been tracking a live deer, which at the end of the day, basically what you do in that scenario is you're basically trying to run them down and shoot them again. If the deer's going to survive, I don't think that's necessary. I don't think that's even the right thing to do. Get a dog and chase a deer down. If you think the shot's fatal, which initially I did, but once I got all the information, I realized that the shot was not as good as I thought it was. I think that deer lived. I don't know if he got killed during rifle. I never saw any. Honestly, we didn't see a ton of bucks hanging. I heard of several bucks being shot, but I didn't see a ton hanging. I felt like he would probably be within 2 miles of that area. These deer travel a long ways. Actually, 2 years ago, I missed a deer that was later. I missed a deer in the morning that I'm fairly certain it was the same deer was shot a mile away that evening. A mile is not that far for a deer. So it's just, a lot of people don't realize that they'll travel that far throughout the day, especially when they're looking for does. So anyway, long story short, this buck, he got away, and I'm not happy about it. I wasn't happy. I really wasn't happy then. I'm still not happy about it. I just wish I knew for sure if he was alive. I think he is, but you just don't know, and it's a sucky feeling. But it happens. It happens to all of us eventually. So you shoot at enough deer, it's going to happen to you. But that'll be the conclusion of this video. In the next video, let's just say it's not bad. It turns out to be a pretty good video for me. So let's just say there might be a big buck hit the ground in this next video. So we'll see you on that one.